World cutting slash was a technique that Sukuna had to get Big Raga, the upper stopper, to figure out for him. What I mean is that Sukuna didn't apply Mahoraga's adaptation to himself to be able to do the world cutting slash. Instead, he figured out how to do it all on his own after seeing Mahoraga do it just once. But real quick, y'all should hit that like button or I'll send Big Raga after you. And trust me, you don't want him at his door. Also, shout out to Luminosity0 on TikTok. I got the model for this video from his post. And major spoilers for the JJK manga. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Just like when Sukuna was able to turn himself into a cursed object after seeing Kenjaku do it just once, he applied this same divine skill and intellect to his fight with the strongest Gojo Satoru. See, Sukuna knew going into this fight that if he had to defeat Gojo, he would need to find a way to bypass Infinity. Infinity basically utilizes the principle that there's an infinite amount of space between every object. Just like there's an infinite amount of numbers between all numbers, Gojo's technique allows him to manipulate space on an atomic level with cursed energy. The literal application of the technique is what creates the invisible force field we know as Limitless. It doesn't matter what attack Sukuna throws at Gojo, how hot the flames are, how powerful the slashes are, they're never gonna get to Gojo because he's always infinitely expanding the space between him and everything else, which is why Sukuna decided to cut the space itself. Well, not Sukuna, but Mahoraga's ability. Gojo's technique is busted, and by itself it's sort of a divine feat, which is why he is the honored one. That's why after fighting Mahoraga in Shibuya, Sukuna knew that the ability would be perfect for fighting Gojo. He revealed that the entire time he had Mahoraga adapting to Gojo's Infinity like downloading a DLC while you're playing the game. The DLC he was downloading was Mahoraga's blueprint. Sukuna didn't know how to bypass Infinity by himself, or more so, he wasn't familiar enough with the technique to know what to adjust. And if he fought Gojo in a drawn out battle, which is what it would take for him to get the time to figure out how to bypass Infinity, due to Gojo's near zero cursed energy usage in any battle of attrition, he wins. And Sukuna knows that. He would have most likely been the one on the offensive the entire time. Hence why he needed 10 shadows. I don't care what anyone says, bruh. The effortless adaptation of Mahoraga saved this boy. Once Mahoraga had bypassed Infinity and slashed Gojo, that's all Sukuna needed. Just like him being able to turn himself into a cursed object, what Sukuna needed was a model for how to tear through Gojo's Infinity. Essentially, how it works is imagine Gojo and Sukuna was drawing on a piece of paper. The paper is the space they exist in. When someone attacks Gojo, he literally increases the amount of paper between him and that attack. And he can do that to an infinite extent. So just like his domain, Sukuna directly interacts with the paper that they exist within, but this time instead of literally painting his domain on the space, Sukuna decides to just tear the paper to reach Gojo, which is absolutely insane but very possible. Sukuna's love and genuine interest in Jujutsu sorcery is what makes him the strongest. He doesn't care what he has to do in order to win, and he always wants to experience and fight against new and interesting sorcery. Gojo, on the other hand, believes that his technique is the best, and that's why he's the strongest. He literally says it during the fight that his Limitless is the better technique. Sukuna doesn't care, he just likes Jujutsu in general. Plus, Gojo didn't know that Sukuna had the ability to learn techniques after seeing them just once. Actually, unlike everyone else, Gojo was the only person who I believe didn't fully understand the scope of power that Sukuna had. He was already in the prison realm when Sukuna expanded his domain and when he fought Jogo and Mahoraga. Of course, he would have been informed, but being there and witnessing the massacre is completely something different, which is why it makes sense that the strongest technique in the series came from such a legendary fight, because I just want you all to get the scope of this attack, bro. There is quite literally nothing that you can do to stop it because it's not trying to cut just you. As long as you exist in the world, it is a guaranteed hit, which is what makes it so broken. When we talk about planet and star busting power, it's usually the amount of energy a character can output to destroy something, but this is something completely different. He isn't outputting some crazy amount of energy to bypass Gojo's Infinity. He's making a surgical incision through the very fabric of space itself. Cursed energy gives sorcerers the ability to perform divine feats, which is ironic considering its name. But honestly, there's no reason Sukuna should be able to do this, but same goes with the barrierless domain, which is why I think cursed energy has to be one of the strongest power systems in anime. And I know what y'all are gonna say, I'm not glazing, it's just my opinion, because honestly, this is a divine feat, which is probably why he was hailed as a deity during his time, because his domain is another example of him interacting directly with reality using cursed energy. Most people in JJK have limited abilities and the verse is pretty weak in general, but this one attack, unless someone else also has abilities that interact with the very fabric of space, he does, they're cooked. Imagine he learned how to equip the world cutting slash into his domain, bro. Remember, you are not the target of the world cutting slash. You are a part of the target, but the target is the actual space that you exist in. As long as something exists within that space, it's going to be cut, which is what makes it the strongest technique in all of JJK. And of course, it came from Sukuna. But anyway, guys, if you all stuck around to the end of this video, shout out to you all. I know this is a short one, but I got some new stuff coming up, and we coming out of break week. So let me know what y'all think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe the video. Plus, shout out to Luminosity. That was a fire thread.